Making sourdough bread like this is actually pretty easy. Watch this video and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so you'll need a scale like this. You can get these on Amazon, and I'll put a link for that in the description. Now we're looking to put 510 grams of our flour. This is the flour I use. I'll put a link for that. I'm gonna put a link for everything on Amazon. So all of your dry ingredients, it needs to add up to 510 grams. And I'll kind of keep moving it so I can see the scale. So sometimes I'll also put a half a scoop or a scoop of whole wheat flour just for some like flavor. You can do that as well. So that's a little bit of whole wheat. And then I'll add like a tablespoon of this diastatic malt powder. Just give the crust. So this I don't really measure this like specifically. I just sprinkle a little bit in like that. This is not something that you have to have. It helps a little bit. And the second ingredient I add that you also don't have to have, but it helps, is this high gluten flour, which just gives the dough more strength and helps it rise a little bit better. And I'll put about the same amount of this also. Again, just all the dry ingredients need to add up to 510 grams. So I'll kind of do this in the middle and then finish off with the white flour we were using in the beginning. So let me see where we're at with our scale here. Yeah, so we went over a little bit. That's 580, so I'll take a little out. There we go, 510 grams. You could set that aside. We're gonna add 12.7 grams of salt. 12.8, that's fine, you can do that. Just kind of sprinkle that in there. And I'll take just a tablespoon and just kind of mix everything. Next is my starter. When it's at peak activity, I put it in the fridge and then I use it right out of the fridge. I don't reactivate it or anything like that. We're gonna take 130 grams of starter. Kind of switch off my starter if you're having trouble getting your starter activated. This flour, this organic rye flour, just like supercharges it. So that's what I have in here right now, but sometimes I'll switch back to the white flour depending on what I have. If you're having trouble with your starter, try using that organic rye flour. It helps a lot. So I'll just kind of take out a bit and I can kind of measure. So it says negative 43. That means I took out 43 grams of starter, and I'll just keep going till I get to 130. That's 134, so that's good enough. The two most important things that you really need to measure closely are the dry ingredients, the flour, and your water. So like the hydration level needs to be pretty much measured out accurately. Next, we're gonna measure out 342 grams of water. This is just regular tap water. 341.7, that's pretty good. Okay, so now I'll just pour that water in there, right on top of the starter there, and kind of wet my hands with the water. And you wanna break up the starter with your hands first, kind of dissolve it in the water. That way it'll spread in the bread a little easier. So just mix everything up. Not much to this, just try to get everything spread out. It's gonna stick to your hands, it's okay, just scrape it off with your fingers. Just try to get all the dry flour off the bottom of the bowl. You can actually take the flour, kind of rub edges of the bowl, kind of clean off all that dry flour. It's almost good enough. So right now it's exactly 11 a.m. and I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, I'll come back and do the first of 3 stretch and folds, which I'll do in 30-minute increments. Okay, so I have this plate that just fits over this bowl perfectly. So you just want to cover it with something like that and just set this aside. We'll come back to it in 30 minutes. We'll do the first stretch and fold. Okay, so immediately after you mix your dough, that's when you're going to want to feed your starter. It's going to be kind of a cheat code way to know when the dough is ready and fully fermented. You just look at your starter, since you mix them at the same time. When this doubles or triples in size, when it's like reached its like peak, that's pretty much when your dough is going to be ready. So I'll usually just take, I'll use the rye flour this time to show you. I usually just take 3 tablespoons of the rye flour. You know, I use pretty much the same amount of starter each time. I refill it with 3 tablespoons, and it just always seems to work out. Just like 3 like heaping tablespoons like that. We'll mix some water in there. And I'm just looking to pretty much make the consistency of like mayo, basically. Kind of like that. Take our rubber band here, and you put it right at the level that it's at right now so we can see how far it rises. I put this cap on the mason jar. Okay, it's been a little over 30 minutes. So I'll do the first stretch and fold now. You can see it's all shaggy looking still. Here's the starter, hasn't really risen at all yet. So I have another bowl here with just some water in it. You need to keep your hands wet so it doesn't stick to your hands. I'm just gonna kind of scrape off the side of the bowl, wet my hands again, stretch it, fold it into the middle. See, it's already smoothing out. And after the third one, it should be a nice, smooth dough ball after the third stretch and fold in about an hour from now. So I usually flip it over now, just kind of fold it, slap and fold it a couple times. You can see it's still a little shaggy, but it's a lot smoother than it was. So now I'll set another timer for 30 minutes. We'll come back and do it again. Just keep it covered for now, and we'll come back in 30 minutes. All right, it's now been another 30 minutes, and we're ready for the second stretch and fold. You can see the starter not really showing much yet, and that's normal. So same thing, we're just gonna wet our hands. Sometimes I don't go around in the circle like that. Now that it's a little smoother, I'll just do the slap and folds. It's like fold it on top of itself like that. Kind of slap it hard. And that's really all it takes. So now we'll cover it again, set a 30-minute timer, and we'll do one more stretch and fold. All right, it's been another 30 minutes. I'm ready for the last stretch and fold. And the starter's just starting to show just a little bit of bubbles here. It's risen from here to here. So it's just starting to get activated. When it's ready, it'll probably be up around here. But let's take the cover off and do our last stretch and fold. Get our hands wet. You can see it's much smoother now. Starting to see some bubbles in there too, which is good. It's getting a little wet at the bottom of the ball, so I'm just gonna dry that off. Kind of ball that up. So that should be it now. Now we'll just cover it and we'll wait for the starter to look like it's ready, and then we'll go to the next step. So this next step, it's gonna bulk ferment. It could be 4 hours, it could be 6 hours. It kind of depends on the temperature of your house and things like that. The cheat code is we have the starter. So Once this rises to the right amount, we'll know exactly when it's time to stop the bulk fermenting. Right now it is 12:47. We started at 11 a.m. I'll come back to you when it's ready. It's now just after 2 o'clock, and you can see the starter's already doubled in size, but I think it's gonna pretty much triple. It's gonna go to about there. And that's when the bread will be ready. Okay, it's now 5:15 p.m. and you can see the starter's at its like absolute peak. It's still slightly domed, but it's almost starting to go back down now. So this is the ideal time that you want to take the starter and put it in the fridge. So now that the starter is in the fridge, next time I make bread, I can just take it right out of the fridge and start using it, because I put it in the fridge right at its peak. Dough here, you can see, has like pretty much doubled in size, maybe a little more. And we are now ready to start shaping it. I use a couple things here, some white rice flour. You'll need a round banneton. This amount of flour is gonna be for the big round banneton. If you're using one of those rectangle ones, then you'll need to adjust the flour amount. I'll put the percentages of everything right here on the video in case you need to adjust. Okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll take some of the white rice flour and just spread it around the inside of the banneton. So the reason you want to use the white rice flour as opposed to regular flour for this, it tends to not absorb water as much, so it helps for the dough not to stick to the banneton. I usually use like a little scoop of the regular white flour just to get it out of the bowl. Just kind of sprinkle it around the top, and then I'll put a little more right there in the corner. And I can kind of dig my hands here, pushing the flour under it so it releases from the bowl. Just trying to kind of evenly coat it. We don't want too much extra flour, just enough so it isn't sticking. If you have any of these air bubbles here, just kind of pat them away. The really big ones, you don't want that. Move the bowl, just kind of pull it out of the bowl, and then the smooth side goes down like that. And this extra flour here, I can just kind of dump it off like that. Get rid of any of those really big bubbles, just like that. If there's too much extra flour, kind of get rid of it. So I'm making like this rectangle shape, like this. And then I'm gonna fold about 1/3 that way, and then 1/3 over this way. And I'm gonna get rid of the extra flour here, because I want this to kind of stick a little bit. And so what we're doing now is we're making tension. This is really important before we put in the banneton. Now, just gonna roll this. A little sticky, put a little of that there. And then I'm gonna pull it over itself to make more tension, like that. Just kind of pulling it and turning it over itself. Just trying to get that round shape. Starting to stick to my hands a little bit, add a little flour. Just a little more. But we don't really want the flour, too much flour on the surface here, so it can stick and pull. And there you go. That's nice and round. One little bubble there I don't really like. It's a little too big. That's it, that's done. Now we'll take the white rice flour, put it over the top. This is so it doesn't stick to the banneton. Also gives it a nice look when you score it, when it has the white rice flour. Just kind of spread that out. And then the smooth side goes down, like that. Now you're gonna, some people take like a shower cap. I have this bag I have that just has a zipper on it and it fits perfectly over it. So this is what I usually use. Put it in the bag. And that's it. Now this goes in the fridge, and then when I wake up in the morning, I can take it out and bake it. You want it to be cold when you bake it. So this will be good. This will be ideal, I think, tomorrow morning. About 5:23 p.m. right now. You can push it as far as the following morning, but I wouldn't really go further than that because then it tends to deflate a little bit when you cook it. All right, it's the next morning, and for the next step, you're gonna need a Dutch oven, and I really like this one because it's kind of reversible. You can use it upside down, so it's easy to get the bread in and out. For most Dutch ovens, it's really awkward to get the bread in and out, especially when the Dutch oven's really hot. This one works a lot better. So you're gonna wanna put the Dutch oven into the oven as high as it goes. If it goes to 550, my oven only goes to 500. So I'll set it for 500 and set a timer for 40 minutes with the Dutch oven preheating in the oven. Alexa, 22-minute timer. Set a timer and cook it covered for 22 minutes. And then after that, I actually like to swap it out to a cold cast iron and cook it for another 10 to 12 minutes uncovered. And I swap it to another cast iron so the bottom doesn't get overcooked because the first cast iron is very, very hot at this point. Now it goes back into the oven uncovered for 10 to 12 minutes until it has a nice golden brown crust. So here's the hard part. Now you need to transfer the bread onto a cooling rack and wait at least 2 hours before cutting into it. If you cut into it too soon, all the steam's going to escape and it's going to get this gross gummy texture. Trust me, I know you want to eat warm bread, but wait 2 hours to cut into it and it's going to be much better. All right, let's cut into this and see how we did. Looks pretty good to me. What do you think? Nice crispy crust and fluffy on the inside. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's any other videos you'd like to see.